Hello everybody, my name is Jumbo Pixel and this video has been a long time coming. This is my curation of some of the best mods for Humankind as integrated through the mod.io function in-game. If you enjoy this kind of content, I'd really appreciate a like on this one. Let's roll. Starting with a simple one that really packs a punch, this is the Natural Wonder Overhaul mod for Humankind by Exotic 1. It leaves in the plus 10 stability and the plus 30 science you initially get from finding a wonder, but it adds a unique flair to all of these wonderful natural wonders. Not only can you get your stability, maybe a bit of industry and food, but this extends out to science, to influence, to faith, vision, range, you name it. Each wonder has its own unique ability now, and they can really change the game. There's a little bit of RNG involved. Some are maybe stronger than others. The Great Blue Hole providing 14 science from the get-go is incredibly powerful, but all of them really have their own unique identity. It adds a flair to the game. It's simple, it's easy to use, it's easy to understand, and it's been updated for the DLC Cultures of Africa pack as well. I can't recommend this one highly enough because of its ease of use and flavor elements. From Uncle to Fire comes the Culture Super Pack for Humankind, ranked #1 of the over 1,000 mods on mod.io for very good reason. This pack currently delivers 53 additional cultures to Humankind spread across every era. You can see me showcasing some of them on screen, although it's important to note that the level of depth and detail in all of them is far too much to cover in this video. What I can say at a higher level is that starting in the ancient era with an additional 11 cultures and moving your way through to the contemporary era, which receives 5, each of these cultures are unique. Varied. Take a look at this one, which builds on obsidian, an in-game resource, not just for its emblematic quarter-iron trait, but also for its unit. This culture is not alone. All of them are unique, bleeding into the history that they're trying to represent and taking advantage of interesting game mechanics throughout. You'll notice that some cultures lean heavily into resources, sometimes specific resources. Others build on, say, the Huns and other cultures that already exist in Humankind that maybe don't like cities and favor outposts and really take it to the next level. There's a much stronger integration with things like populations, garrisons, and defenses. Religious buildings and religious districts feature very heavily as well. The Culture Super Pack is also incredibly easy to use. 53 cultures with one simple mod to install. It's no wonder that this one ranks currently at the very top of the list as far as players are concerned. The level of depth and detail really can't be overstated here. Everything has been looked at, from era timings, resource trade-offs, unique faith outputs, monetary outputs, resources, terrace farms, customized artwork for some of the units, so on and so forth. This mod pack really delivers a depth to your game that I would say even after many playthroughs, you still will not have uncovered all of its gems. Really, I can't stress that enough. I've live streamed it a few times here on my channel. I've played it in my own time, and I feel like I've still barely scratched the surface of the nuance and complexity that is delivered. Look, here we go again, and all of these unique cultures across all of the eras. I cannot recommend this one again highly enough to add variety to your game. It is brilliant. The next mod on my list is the Deep Sea mod, coming to us from a wonderful creator called Enchanter. The Deep Sea mod adds life to the sea. To quote the mod listing, we need more space for more district spamming, and the seas are a great place for it. And man, I have to agree. If you have a look in the top left-hand side of your screen, you can see all of the improvements that this mod delivers from the ancient era, where, as you can see on screen, we start with things like fishing villages and shellfish farms. They provide respectively food or industry and money to your cities. You can think of these as land-based districts brought out into the sea, but the fun doesn't stop there. It carries on and it carries on. Natural features like corals and volcanoes, as well as human-constructed things like maritime hubs in the early phases, through to lighthouses and defensive districts in the sea, and ultimately ending with very powerful late-game features like insular airfields, submarine holds, shipyards, cruise ships, you name it. This mod adds life to the seas. It allows you to expand your civil duties out into the ocean. It really does, I find, blur the lines between land and sea in Humankind. Generally in 4X games, and Humankind's not alone in this, land sees a lot of improvements and the ocean is often sort of left to its own devices. The deep sea mod brings that to the fore and allows you to build in the sea in the exact same ways that you would build on land. However, I don't believe it's actually the best improvement for naval gameplay in Humankind, but it does go very nicely alongside, thanks to a patch that allows you to play both mods at the same time, the fourth entry on my list, the extended naval combat mod for Humankind by Freethinker. Let's transition over to that now and talk about the incredible amount of depth and detail that the extended naval combat mod adds. Freethinker's mod is aimed at making the game longer, more interesting, and more realistic, particularly toward the end game, as you would have noted by that massive technology tree that I just showed you. The extended naval combat mod really focuses around three things: nuclear proliferation, science through new technologies and tech tree changes. I would note that there are some 27 new technologies added to the game, from rifling to anti-tank guns, jet engines, reactive armor, you name it, it's there. Various tech tree changes, as well as entire changes to the very branch of the tree, the very structure of the tech tree. Combat, of course, features incredibly heavily here, not just with naval units, of course, but also with land and air units too, and how they interrelate with naval features in the game. There are some 15 additional naval units, 17 land units, 3 in the air, and a whole load of unique changes to special abilities, unit performance, and overall balance. This mod is absolutely massive. What the Deep Sea mod does to the early game, or the game's, shall we say, naval districts, this mod does to combat. Maybe even in a more pronounced and profound way. You can see just some of the additions that this mod adds on screen right now. Again, it's another mod that I just cannot recommend highly enough. Whether you play it in conjunction with the Deep Sea mod, thanks to their compatibility patch that you can also install, or in isolation, you will have a good time. Ascending to the top of this list, although it's not in a ranked order, is the Vanilla Improvement Project for Humankind by Dr. Kane with K. Dr. Kane's Vanilla Improvement Project is probably the most wide-reaching of all of these mod packs. You can see just some, really scratching the surface changes that it delivers on screen here. From religion to civics to ideological axis, buyout costs, fame era thresholds, cultural rebalances, civic reworks, unit balance, you name it, it's got it. Stability, luxuries, denser districts. This mod pack, this improvement project, really does add everything you could ever want in terms of balance and improvements and features to Humankind. Now, by design, it is of course a vanilla improvement project. You won't find a whole load of wacky new additions with this mod pack. Instead, you will find well-researched, highly curated, carefully thought out improvements to Humankind. Many players note that this improvement pack for them is what they would like to see Humankind look like years post-development. Years post-development. The kind of post-development that we might see in a game like Civilization 6 after it's been released for many years and seen many patches and many extensions and DLCs added to it. The Vanilla Improvement Project is an easy recommend for me, and again, it's another mod pack that I find I can come back to. And every time I come back to it and look at it, I find something new. Whether it's the Tier 4 religious tenets, civic reworks, whatever it may be. This mod pack adds so much detail and nuance to Humankind, I can't recommend it highly enough. It really does set out, I believe, to achieve its goal of improving the vanilla experience. A shout out to you and everybody who put effort into this one. I would also be kind of foolish to not mention the official Endless mod for Humankind. This one, published by Amplitude Studios earlier this year, adds a whole load of new content to the game, but crucially, it unites the Endless universe with Humankind. Through 32 narrative events, a couple of civics and technologies, infrastructures to national projects, this mod kind of adds it all Ultimately, though, of course, this is about adding the story of the Endless, these mysterious people who came once before us, and ultimately will add the great filter to the game. This final end game challenge, the one and only way to finish through a special series of event chains. It's a really powerful mod, it's a really simple mod, and because it was produced by Amplitude, and of course, it incorporates their Endless universe. If you're unfamiliar, that's the likes of Endless Legend, Endless Space, their other fantastic strategy game titles. This one is an easy recommendation for me. I've had a lot of fun playing it on stream multiple times, and it's the kind of mod that you can just sort of add back in and play every now and again. It adds flavor, it adds fun. I can't recommend it highly enough. And at the end here, some whirlwind recommendations, and while I can't whirlwind recommend all of my honorable mentions, here are but a few. Firstly, Tonlo's Religion gameplay extended mod for Humankind adds that lovely level of nuance and detail to Humankind's religious system, something it could use, in my opinion. Next up, we have Eventful for Humankind by GoGo Dinosaur. This one adds, I believe, around 21 new events to Humankind. Again, a little bit of extra nuance and detail for your playthroughs. Next up, we have Dusk and Dawn's culture mods. These cultures are fantastically well thought out. Many contain customized artwork as well. There's also the Hero and Legends mods created by Dusk. Some I'm yet to try, but I'm looking forward to delving into those. And last but not least, we have the wonderful Avatar mods by Hoff, one of my community mods. Thank you so much for the work that you do. In particular, I'm a big fan of the Neolithic era changes here. And that's a wrap for my list. I hope that you enjoyed it. I was really reluctant to make this video for two reasons. Firstly, there's a lot of effort, research, gameplay gathering, you name it, that goes into it. But secondly, I don't want to leave the very creative people who have worked really hard on their mods out. So it pains me to make a list of a few and not mention the rest. Do go and check them out. There's some great things in the community here. I can't recommend it highly enough. Thank you to our community, Dr. Kane, and everybody else who contributed to the formation of this list, whether you created mods or helped me piece them together in a logical and concise way. I really appreciate it. I'll see you next time.